In a temple in Ziz, a large number of magic weapon meat lotus flowers appeared, related to the mysterious and tragic death of 108 eminent monks. 7 deaths and 9 innings go to Tibet to reveal the cruel truth. July 1982, Donggun Chuo Temple in Zizang Shannon District. The infamous lotus incident in the 7 states of France happened. The fleshy lotus is the reproductive organ of a virgin, concocted. The process requires going through 4 major hurdles. The first level is called Bai Ku Chuan Lin. It is to let the sacrificial bamboo make the whole root from a lotus plate. Inhale the King Kong of Arhat, 108 inhalations in 9 days, to nourish the meat lotus, make it plump. The second level is called 100 Poisons Impunity. Mothers will remember the body, filled with poisonous bugs and herbs. To last 81 days, let the two fight each other, to balance the internal carry of the meat joint. Finally achieve a tight skin, shaped like a jade pot, the eagle-free effect. The third level is called a long fight and a long practice, also called Bingtan Copper Furnace. Remember being put on a glacier during the day. Let the ice water fully penetrate the meat curtain. Bring it back to the temple at night. Let's remember to sit on a slow-burning pottery stove and slowly roast meat lotus. Let it gradually take shape. Wait until 18 days later. If you remember, it's not dead. Then it means that the magic tool meat lotus has been achieved. At this time, the last curtain cutting can be carried out. The entire planting process. Young girls often have to endure inhuman torture for 4 or 5 months, or even years. Even so, the yield of meat is also very low. 10 young girls. It may not be possible to produce a top-quality meat company, but whether the meat is connected or not, the maiden known as the priestess, the end result is often death, and the number of meat lotus collected by Dongongchu Temple. It is actually full of 7 floors of stupa. At that time, this incident alerted the 74 Liquor Bureau in Beijing. They immediately bought 2 experiences. Rich old comrade. Go to Dongongchu Temple to find out. Comrades who are like wine come to Dongonggu Temple in the stupa behind the monastery. I saw those treasured magic tool meat unions. The stupa is 7 stories high. Each floor is colored. Different shapes of meat lotus. Every meat lotus was once a living girl. And all this. All 108 people from Dongongchu Temple. The tragic death of an eminent monk. July of the same year. 749 Bureau headquarters in Beijing received a plea for support from the top of Zizang police. Hope they send someone to solve a difficult and mysterious case. 7 drinks. Send 2 old comrades, Wu Mingyi and Zhou Lu Sheng. Let's go together. The temple in the Shannon area of Zizang police. The person responsible for meeting with Lao Hu and the others. How urgent is the criminal police? 3 people meet. If you are in a hurry, tell the 2 mysteriously. This case is related to Tibetan Buddhism, and the modus operandi doesn't look artificial at all. Well known. Tibetan Buddhism is completely different from mainland Buddhism. One is the 3rd incarnation of Lesser Saint Buddhism. One is the 2nd incarnation of Lesser Saint Buddhism. Ideally, the 2 can be said to be opposite. Mainland Buddhism upholds the principle of eliminating greedy ministers and eating. Eliminate karma. Tibetan Buddhism, on the other hand, very much advocates eating by greedy ministers. I believe that this concept can help people practice to obtain positive results. There is a lot of unofficial history documenting the darkness and evil of Tibetan Buddhism. Multiple episodes are talking here. Take Hu and Joe into a Tibetan restaurant. Let's have something to eat first. It just so happens that I will tell you the case in detail. So the three ordered some food. They began to seriously discuss the case. Dorji told them, "It's about 200 kilometers away from here. There is a small temple called Donggong-chu Temple. There are 7 lamas in this monastery, rarely in public. I just know they're kind of mysterious, but according to multiple episodes, although this temple is inconspicuous, even in very remote locations, however, it is often visited by foreign tourists. The specific reason is unknown." Lao Hu immediately felt something was wrong after hearing it. Zizang since liberation, it has indeed attracted many foreign tourists. But a lot of people go to the Potala Palace, even if you visit other temples. That's also the Jokhang Temple, Xiaojiao Temple, these places. As for Donggong-chu Temple, not only unknown, can't even find it on the map. Why do those foreign tourists go there? This Donggong-chu Temple. What is the magic? Lao, who couldn't help but ask Dorji. Dorji shook his head. We went in. It's small inside. In addition to the decoration style, it is slightly different from other temples. Everything else is the same. Then Dorji said again, "But now there's something bizarre going on there. I'm afraid no one will go there in the future. So let's start with the case." Lao Ju felt that their conversation was a little off track, so remind Dorji, too. Dorji then told them that just a month ago, they got a call from a herder, said that many lamas died in Dongonto Monastery. They called the cops. Originally, there were only 7 long-standing lamas in the temple, but 108 people died, except for the 7 lamas in this temple. Others are from temples in different regions. The key is that these lamas died very strangely. Don't look at their dead faces. They are all in a meditative posture. Looks very peaceful on the surface. But in fact, their nakedness was cut off by strength. That's equivalent to saying they had been bowed before. Dorji and the others were on the kitchen steamer. They found the severed organs. It's all steamed. The modus operandi of the murderer is appalling. Needless to say, the most confusing thing for Lao Hu and Lao Zhou. What kind of murderer can control 108 adult males simultaneously, even though some of the lamas were older? But if you want to resist, even if there are many murderers, it can't be so easy. Then there are only 2 possibilities. One is the number of murderers, at least twice as much as the lama. That's equivalent to more than 200 people. If so, it was slaughter. The other one, like Dorji said, it's really the work of ghosts and gods. 7 drinks. As a dedicated investigator of mysterious events, they don't essentially deny the existence of ghosts. After all, there are so many strange things in the world that science cannot explain. So, in a way, ghosts kill people. In the opinion of Lao Hu and Lao Zhou, barely such a heinous and cruel case. Dorji's criminal police team investigated for nearly a month. No eyebrows. They had no choice but to turn to the experts of Bureau 749. After listening to the explanation of many episodes, Lao Hu and Lao Zhou, all serious thoughts. They ate a few mouthfuls of rice indiscriminately. I can't wait to urge more episodes of Little Comrades. Take us to the scene first. So the 3 of them got into a jeep. After 5 or 6 hours of bumping on the mountain road, I didn't come to Donggong-chu Temple until evening. The 2 got out of the car and took a look. This is literally a place where birds don't shit. Who is it and why? to commit a massacre in a place like this, at this time. Several police officers guarding the scene came over. Dorji, hurry up and introduce them. You are the 749 innings. The so-called most mysterious department. A police officer's face. Hu Yi looked at Lao Hu and Lao Zhou. Think they are ugly. He doesn't look like a great guy at all. So they questioned them. The other cop just circled the two. With a look of disdain, he said that the above said to send us helpers. It can't be them, can it? That's funny. Dorji was a little embarrassed. Immediately explained to Brother Chen. These two are both 7 to 9 innings. Experts must be capable. Speaking of which, Dorji is also a little insecure. So he turned to look at Lao Hu and Lao Zhou. You won't let me down, will you? I haven't waited for Lao Hu and Lao Zhou to talk yet. The person who was called right immediately ridiculed. Experts are the least capable people. Count on them. Might as well count on the police dogs on our team. It was provocative. If it were someone else, I would have been angry long ago. But old Hu and old Zhou smiled calmly. Not at all. Old Hu pointed at the captain. Say if your shoulders are heavy, feeling drowsy. A police officer's expression flashed across the captain's face, pretending nothing happened again. Don't make fun of me. My shoulders are heavy and tired. Who doesn't want to sleep in the middle of the night now? Lao Zhou next to him immediately replied, I advise you not to look back. Otherwise, you will die. The captain's face twitched. I scolded in a hurry. What kind of shit expert are you looking for? Are you here to dance? After saying that, the captain turned around and was about to go back to the car. But the moment he turned around, the whole person fell to the ground with a plop. Direct unconsciousness. Duoji and Brother Chen are all stupid. Quickly squatted down to observe the leader. Don't blame me for not warning you. Now it's best for no one to turn around easily. Otherwise, you will be like him. While Lao Zhou was talking, just like Lao Hu, he is observing the surroundings carefully. Comrade, what the hell is going on? You are right to save. Dorji begged the two of them in a crying voice, who then took out a black bottle from his bag, poured some potions from it, smeared on the captain's forehead. At the same time, let Dorji and the others take off the captain's shirt. I saw the captain on the shoulder behind him. Large bruises appear. There are even 2 clearly visible fingers. It's pretty scary. Don't worry, he's just haunted by ghosts. 2 of the 3 lamps on his body were blown out. So he fainted. Lao Hu explained. Duoji and Brother Chen meet face to face. A face of disbelief. Comrade? You mean right? He just went through a ghost light blow? How anxious to ask, with wide eyes. Lao, who did not answer directly. Instead, he pointed to the plainclothes on them and asked, There are ghosts everywhere. Very heavy yin. Why don't you wear police uniforms? The 2 were stunned for a moment. In fact, I also know in my heart that police uniforms can exorcise evil spirits. I just didn't expect to see a ghost. Just then, awakened by the captain of the old Hutu potion, when he found out that it was Lao who saved him, apologized to him with a face full of shame. Thank you for saving me. I was wrong just now. The 2 ignored him. Lao Zhou pointed to the temple in front of him and said, This temple is not clean. The ghosts around are all running out of the temple. There's definitely something wrong in there. Just go in and have a look. Old Fox takes the lead, walking towards the temple. As a result, he just stepped into the threshold with 1 foot and saw an incredible scene. Old Who saw a naked female corpse 3 inches from the enemy, hovering in the air. She has good looks and a good figure, and the visual age is only around 18 years old. Still an innocent girl. However, this lady attracted Lao Hu's attention the most. It's not her stunning figure and features. It was her gutted pussy. Who saw the blood between her legs? The original reproductive organs have long been cut off by sharp weapons. Missing. Old Who immediately thought of the 108 monks who died tragically. Could there be some connection between them? Then Lao Zhou also rushed over. The two men tried to talk to the woman, but the other party paid no attention to them at all. But to lead them to, behind the temple, under a stupa. The pagoda in Zhejiang is called the White Pagoda, also known as the White Pagoda of Xin. This pagoda is a Buddhist building in Tibetan areas. For thousands of years, it has been regarded as the most sacred place by Tibetans. It is also their spiritual sustenance. The White Pagoda of Dongongchu Temple is as high as 3 floors. The whole thing is conical, with a golden tower top. From the outside, this White Pagoda and other white pagodas in Tibetan areas, not much difference, but Lao Hu could see it at a glance. There are tricks in the White Tower. The evil spirit is heavier here. Lao Hu frowned and went in to have a look. Lao Zhou took out his gun. Take the lead and go inside. At the same time, the multi-level who had been hesitating at the gate of the temple before, Captain Het, after they emboldened each other, he also walked into the temple. But they couldn't find any trace of Lao Hu and Lao Zhou at all, including what they saw. It's completely different from what the two saw. It's like they're in 2 different dimensions, more than they look for privately. When Lao Hu and Lao Zhou, the 2 of them had already entered the White Tower. I saw one Buddhist journal after another enshrined in it, but there is no Buddha statue in the Buddhist magazine. It's a weird-looking meat lotus. Before the liberation of meat lotus was once a relatively popular Tibetan Buddhist, a sacrificial instrument. The material for making meat lotus is neither stone. They're not plants. They're real people, and a virgin without a person. The production process of meat union is full of blood and violence. The steps are also complicated. Cycles can last for months or even decades. Lao, who is well informed, he stopped in front of a Buddhist magazine, carefully observed the meat lotus placed inside. I saw this meat lotus with purple and red oil, flexibility with toughness. There are 2 narrow holes in the middle. The holes are layered. The surface is also covered with brown fluff. Lao, whose face became more and more serious. Just then, Lao, who found Lao Zhou beside him, already sitting cross-legged on the ground. Close your eyes slightly, not moving at all. Lao, who immediately understood what Lao Zhou was doing at this time. Everyone who can make 749 innings has stunts, just like Hu. He has eyes. You can see things that others can't. Most newborn children have celestial eyes, but the eye gradually closes after the age of 3. But Lao, whose is different. His eyes did not close after the age of 3. It's much more sensitive and clear. He was in the army before. Inadvertently demonstrated the function of Tianyan. So it was established for a while in the 729 innings. He was overcome by the first signs. Old Zhou, who entered the same batch of 7 deaths and 9 innings as him. The stunt is psychic. At this moment, Lao Zhou is channeling. Lao, who is very tacit in staying by Lao Zhou's side in case something attacks him. After about 10 minutes, beads of sweat oozed from Lao Zhou's forehead. He slowly opened his eyes. after flirting with Turner. Turn your head and tell Lao who to go. Go to Yansu's. Lao, who knew that Lao Zhou must have been in a channel, gained important information from ghosts. That's why I went to Yansu. The two did not hesitate, just stride out. Razawa means mountain in Tibetan, Wakashi Lake. What Lao Zhou said about Yungkao Razawa, it's a mountain in Tibet. In our name, it is Yunhu Mountain. It is 60 kilometers away from Donggentu Temple. Lao Hu and the others came outside. See Dorji and others who are anxiously waiting. After a simple exchange of information, Lao Hu asked Duoji to drive to Yungwarazawa immediately. Comrade, what are we doing in Yunsorazawa? Are you not investigating the case? On the road, Dorji and the others couldn't help but ask Lao Hu and Lao Zhou. I went there to investigate the case. Old Zhou returns, but the Cloud Wrong Day is related to the death of 108 high monks. What does it matter? Of course it does. You'll know when you go. The group went to great lengths. Finally arrived at Yansora's. This is a small mountain at an altitude of more than 1,800 meters. Uncommon? Not at all. As soon as Lu, Lao, Zhou, and Lao Hu got off the bus, they went straight to the top of the mountain. Everyone was puzzled, can only follow. After reaching the top of the mountain, they saw another shocking scene. Next to the duck's mouth, there is a fenced-off area. It's covered with gravel, and on the gravel, it was filled with bones and carrion. If I'm not mistaken, this should be a natural burial platform, Old Hu said calmly. Lao Zhou nodded. Popular Tianzang in Tibetan areas, you know that. Generally, everyone in Tianzang will choose to go to the direct supply ladder. There is the most famous Tianzang Tai in Zizang, and there are eminent monks who go beyond. Of course, there are also wild Tianzang like this. Most of the deceased were ordinary Tibetans, but this Tianzang Tai is different, because regular Tianzang will have Tianzang stones. The body is divided into pieces according to the standard, but this Tianzang Tai in front of you, the skeletons left over from the corpse are relatively intact. That is to say, the deceased was thrown directly into the celestial burial area. No sky burial city host. In the sky burial culture of Tibetan areas, there is no sky burial. The sky burial in the city is a big taboo. It offends the gods. The souls of the dead will not only find peace, even cursed to be unable to live in vain. Who would want their relatives and friends cursed after death? Don't be born in vain. However, the next sentence from Lao Zhou, direct chilling. These people are hated, and they are all girls who have not yet left the cabinet. They were imprisoned and controlled. It was later thrown into a living meat union. He didn't die in pain until the very last moment. Those nasty guys. You dumped their bodies here. Finished Lao Zhou for baldness. The captain standing behind immediately asked questions. Comrade, how did you know this? Did you guess? Lao Zhou smiled helplessly. No answer. Old Hu reminded Captain Zhang impatiently. You contact Curie immediately. Check if there are any missing persons records in the last year. We need to know the details ASAP. But what else does Captain Zhang want to say? But he was interrupted by Old Hu. Just do it. Old Hu's aura startled Captain Zhang. Don't dare to say more. I had to get back to the car immediately. Use the radio to contact the bureau. And in fact, as early as a year ago, this is 1981, Zizang did happen. Sensational missing persons case. According to statistics, a total of 27 people were missing at that time, but the criminal has been caught. The criminal who sold 27 people was named Chang Yunbao, 43 years old, from Chonglai, Sichuan, according to Chang Yunbao's account. All 27 of them were women. They were sold to Yunnan by him respectively. Sichuan in the northwest and other places became a door. In the end, Chang Yunbao was sentenced to 17 years for kidnapping. When Lao Hu and the others discovered the celestial burial platform, it was the second year of Chang Yunbao's sentence. The two seem unrelated, but Hu and Zhou, looking up, after the criminal materials provided by the Zhejiang police, I think there is a big problem with this person. Lao Hu suspects the female sea valley on the burial platform of Yansora's. It is likely to be the 27 people who disappeared before. To this end, they also returned to Yunzuo, Rizawa Sky Burial Platform, carefully counted the number of sea valleys. It's actually an amazing 27 dramas. Chang Yunbo must have lied. Lao, whose intuition is getting stronger and stronger. Therefore, the two went to Bomi prison, where Chang Rainbow was detained. I planned to confront him. Chang Yunbao, who has served almost 2 years in prison, never dreamed. One day I will be refreshed by the people of 749 innings, and his carefully crafted lies. Also, in front of the comrades at the wife's liquor store, completely pierced, Lao Hu and Lao Zhou control the police and the courts, clues and details that were never known. They told Chang Yunbao these one by one. Lao Zhou even uses psychics. Let long rainbow dash walk. I saw those tragic souls like a lantern. Chang Yunbao, who was very calm at first. I finally broke down. He confessed. The bodies of 27 women at the Risawa Sky burial pole in Yen. About him, I'll tell you for free. I will explain. Chang Yunbao sat on the iron chair, sobbing. The following is Chang Yunbao's transcript from March 1981. My friend Su Ershuang and I were in Zhejiang, got 3 smoked bamboo shoots. Then at the price of 1,500, sold to the great Now Lama of Da. Lama now is actually an antiquities dealer. He not only sold cultural relics abroad, they include heroes. These countries protect animals, including some sacred objects of Buddhism. During the transaction, I saw him put a chic object, sold to a foreigner for 360,000. It was a shock. I risked sentencing to catch smoke damage. That's why I made $1,000. He can sell more than 300,000 for an inconspicuous thing. I also want to make a lot of money. I asked the South Australian Great Lama what it was. I want to do that to make money too. No shame, he said. It was called meat lotus, made with living people, so it's valuable. I got scared when I heard it was done by a living person, but the Australian Lama said, those people are all here to worship the Buddha, and voluntarily died. So not only will you not get retribution for making meat unions, you can also repair blessings. The point is that a lot of foreigners like that stuff, willing to pay a high price for collections. The Great Lama of South Australia asked me if I would do it. I just need to provide him with girls. Don't worry about anything else. The money earned is divided into 37%. I'm good for ecstasy, promised the Great Lama. I was too scared the first time, so I kidnapped a mentally retarded girl. He's 16 years old. Later, the Great Lama of South Australia told me that the meat lotus of the planer failed. The girl died in the second round, but he still paid me $10,000. After I go back, everything will be peaceful. Cha didn't find me either, so I got emboldened. Second time, directly abducted an 18-year-old female college student. This time it was a success. After the meat lotus planing is completed, the Australian Lama gave me a total of 110,000 in 2 installments. Since then, I want to make more money. Started selling girls like crazy. A total of 27 people were abducted and sold before and after. The last girl I sold was 14 years old. When I took it there, it was still a fresh little life. When I went to Damgon Chuozi to get the money a few months later, she has become a little delicate meat lotus. I saw the Australian Lama. He had something shaped like a walnut in his hand. Don't know what it is, so I borrowed it to play. That thing is shiny like this, smooth and delicate feel, a slit in the middle. There are 2 particularly small and round pores on it. It's elastic when pinched. I haven't seen meat lotus up close before, so don't know. So I asked him what it was. Now Delling said with a smile, "That's the girl I kidnapped. Meat lotus, a magic tool made by I was so scared that I immediately put things on the table. Think back to that innocent little girl. Now it has been concocted into such a small thing. I was depressed, driven by curiosity. I took the initiative to ask the Great Lama, "Tell me how the meat union is made." The Great Lama said the process was complicated. It requires a total of 4 processes, thousands of steps. It will take 4 or 5 months at the soonest to produce the finished product. The girl who plants the meat lotus is called the Foundation. They started the day they entered the temple. You will be tied up. The first step in planing the meat lotus is called the White Pestle Sichuan lotus. It is to let the ancestors make the whole root from a lotus plate. Inhale Arhat's Vajra Pestle. 108 inhalations in 9 days. To nourish the meat lotus, make it plump. The second step is called 100 Poisons Impunity. This step is the longest, the most painful stage. Many will die. At this stage, lamas will remember the body, filled with poisonous bugs and herbs. To last 81 days, let the 2 fight each other. To balance the evil within the meat joint, finally achieve a tight skin, shaped like a fish, the eagle-free effect. The third part is called 9 Steams and 9 Refinements, also called Ice Charcoal Supplement. Remember being put on a glacier during the day. Let the ice water fully penetrate the meat curtain. Bring it back to the temple at night. Let's remember to sit on a slow-burning pottery stove and slowly roast meat lotus. Let it gradually take shape. The slow roasting step is very difficult. Precise heat must be mastered. Once the fire gets big, roast meat. All efforts are lost immediately. When it comes to this, I immediately asked the Great Lama, "So burn those girls. Aren't they miserable?" The Great Lama said no. The first is that the fire is small. Even if you put a piece of paper on it, it won't burn. The second is to remember to go through the processing of the first few steps. The meat joint part has almost been separated from the body. Become insensitive. Feel no pain. That's why you teach them to remember. The meat lotus is only temporarily deposited on them. Eventually it's going to be cut off. 18 days later, the 4th curtain. At this time, if you remember that you are not dead, then it means that the magic tool Meat Alliance is a great success. Curtains can be cut. Cutting the curtain not only confirms the success of the previous steps, it is also a great test of the executioner's knife skills. No blood can be seen during the entire curtain cutting process. You can't bring meat either, otherwise it will directly fail. Once this is all done, remembering also loses its value. It can be processed. the above. What I saw and heard in Dongongchu Temple. Not a single lie. After I left Dongkonku Temple, if you plan to do one more vote, you will take it back to your hometown. Unfortunately, he was caught by the police. I plead guilty, but I didn't say those who were abducted. All the girls were turned into meat lotus. Not to mention, they are dead, because that would definitely sentence me to death. So I had to lie. Said I sold them to Sichuan, Yunnan, and the Great Northwest. Just let the cops find it. I can live one day at a time. Later, according to my analysis, they can't keep looking. This case, the last 80% will end with me being sentenced. I lied just to escape the death penalty. I am guilty. I deserve to die. For the sake of my confession, I hope the government will be lenient with me. The above is my true confession, according to Fan Chang Rainbow Dash. After listening to Chang Yun Bao's confession, Lao Hu and Lao Zhou all fell silent. The entire interrogation was extremely depressing. In fact, the follow-up to the meat lotus planing. There is one more thing Chang Yun Bao did not say. That is the girl who was planed into meat lotus, after being cut off from the meat lotus, often only with one last breath left, even if they didn't die. Also by Lamas, uniformly transported to the sky burial platform of Yunsori. Let the vultures catch and burn. They can only watch as they are killed by vultures. Food dies in pain. No wonder Lao Hu and the others are in Dongongchu Temple and Yunsori found so murderous. The Chang Yunbo case was finally called back for retrial, converted to death sentence. As for the tragic death of 108 eminent monks in Dongongchu Temple, to put it bluntly, it is their 108 King Kong, the first step in concocting meat federations. That is, in the process of piercing the white pestle, encountered paranormal revenge. That's kind of karma. This incident, in the investigation file provided to the police by Bureau 7, I only wrote 4 words to write some sacrifices.